Joining us now is Andy No, a great fighter for liberty and freedom. Andy, welcome to the program. Walk us through the latest news with your Twitter account.
Hi, Charlie. Thanks for having me on. Well, most of your listeners may have heard of me because of my reporting on Antifa. I do that in news writing, and a lot of it actually happens through tweets. I break a lot of stories on my Twitter. And one of the projects that I have ongoing is that I document violent extremist far-left accounts that organize openly on Twitter. I mean, this was part of the apparatus that caused 2020 to be so successful in violent riots across the US is because a lot of the riots were organized on Twitter. So as part of my primary evidence gathering, I screenshot the original tweets. I linked to them these extremist tweets, and I post it so that people can see this is what is on this platform live and active now. You know, it's not me editorializing it. You can see it for yourself. And for that, I had I opened up the app on Tuesday night, and suddenly I was locked out. It said that I had violated a rule, and then it wouldn't say what rule. It was empty. So I found out. I saw people were letting me know, hey, if you go on my wall, tweet after tweet is just being, this tweet has violated the rules. And everything I had posted the last couple of days has been related to like Antifa and screenshots of what they say and what they say they will do. For example, that just an hour before I was locked out, I posted about Antifa's calls to violently attack the TPUSA University of Oregon campus event. And that was one of the tweets that was affected. So the current head of Twitter Trust and Safety, in some of her public statements on Twitter, said that by screenshotting these posts that I was amplifying the threats of violence and was preventing Twitter from being able to minimize or prevent harm. Now, look, you know, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. There's no one-size-fits-all solution to, you know, when you have issues like this on Twitter. However, I am of the view that bringing attention to these tweets doesn't amplify the threat. It actually nullifies it because, one, the public is informed. Two, potentially law enforcement. You know, I have 1.1 million followers. Three, the targets of that violence or threats is also made aware. And she suggested, the Twitter Trust and Safety head said, well, you know, the threats can be redacted. But then if that's, you know, if the posts are censored, then the threat can be downplayed. I could be accused of being manipulating the evidence. And then it would also give the far left, another excuse that it's not really as bad as I say. So, I mean, there was, you know, among supporters such as yourself and other conservatives brought attention to what happened to me. And within a day, my account was unlocked. Those posts were restored. But it seems like the new policy going forward based on her tweets is that journalists like myself is going to have to make that editorial decision to censor certain aspects. And I wrote a report for the Post Millennial outlining that it's not actually quite clear cut what to censor sometimes. For example, many of these calls to violence will say something like, you know what to do, and then they'll post an address of, let's say, a business, let's say Pregnancy Resource Center. Okay, one, the address of that business is public, so it's not a private type thing. Would I censor the name of the charity or the nonprofit? What would I censor there? Or sometimes they don't even say anything. They'll use emojis like the toy gun emoji, the fire emoji, the brick emoji. So this is what I mean when now that I am being people like myself who's bringing attention to the violent extremism is being punished. Whereas some of these tweets, by the way, the original ones that were making the threats were still online, whereas I was locked out. That's the irony here.
Andy No is an investigative journalist at the Post Millennial, and Post Millennial does a wonderful job. You guys have got to check it out. Author of Unmasked, Inside Antifa's Radical Plan to Destroy Democracy. And you could follow him at Andy-No, that is NGO.com, for those of you on radio. Let's play cut 108 of Antifa disrupting our Turning Point USA event at the University of Oregon in Eugene, Oregon. Play cut 108.
We don't want this on our college campuses. You are miseducating the people. But when you come in here, when you come in here and you lie about the way that our society should be, when you come in here and you spread this type of shit, it's what makes these generals bad.
You want to play the game? Let's play the game, baby. Let's play the game.
I'm not here to play the game. I'm here to disrupt here. You gotta understand that.
Are you not trying to shut down my voice?
Yes, that's the point of me being here.
Supposed to uplift black voices.
Suppression of your political opposition.
Are you supposed to uplift black voices? Let me hear it.
Not in every situation.
So what you heard there is two black conservatives, Stephen Davis and Anthony Watson, who are part of the Turning Point USA team, being shouted down by masked white liberals at the University of Oregon in Eugene because two black conservatives would have a different opinion, but the white liberals, of course, want to control black people again. A lot of liberals want to go back to slavery. They just won't admit it. So, Andy, why is this not exactly, why is this even a question on the modern Twitter? Have you seen Twitter improve at all since Elon took it over?
In some regards, I brought a lot of attention to some of these violent extremist accounts by doing the thing that I was just punished for. And some of those accounts, really high profile extremist accounts, actually subsequently got banned after I brought attention, brought out the receipts. They said this, and this, and this. This is where you can find those posts. And they were suspended. But then this seems like a big, step backwards now with this new rule. And, I just wanted to weigh in a little bit on what you just said. These aren't, these radical militant leftists are not liberals. I think the mistake is that liberals have as well, is that they think that these Antifa are allies with them. And strategically, they do use them sometimes as
shock
foot
troops.
soldiers to carry out, shock troops to carry out violence. But if you, as I write in my book and have talked about extensively, the project of Antifa is the overthrow of the rule of law of the United States, of the nation state, period, which would destroy, obviously, the Democrat Party, liberal, mainstream establishment as well. So they're playing a really dangerous game here because, they see, I think, a temporary benefit in that, these shock troops can shut down through violence or intimidation or, just disruption the right. But this is a very dangerous game. And there's, some historical precedent for in history and other places where these militants have been used and it actually benefits like extremist elements. A lot of times with what Antifa does is that they create the enemies they say they're out there to fight. They actually are a radicalizing element. This is the thing that people don't quite understand, is that when people see over and over that these extremists can, in some jurisdictions in America, carry out violence against American citizens, it creates a reaction where people want to form their own groups or sort of like militia type groups. And it's an escalation of political violence on the streets. And and unfortunately, a lot of that organizing takes place on Twitter, which I try my best to illuminate. And I'm not quite sure exactly how to do that going forward now.
Andy, thank you for your great work. Check out Andy-No and check out his book. Thank you so much, Andy.